Welcome all Zero Point Energy researchers and easy 3D Biz viewers. This is a video on how I make these, basically what I call air batteries. Give you a quick freeze frame, but I'll go through here really quick so you guys can freeze frame it and read it later. Information now is very important. It's the information age, so we'll be very careful with our information, make sure it's all properly done. Alright, quite simply, when these are done, I put them in a 3-part series, and I get this. Thing runs basically forever. As long as you want it to run, it'll keep running. It's basically what's called accessing the quantum vacuum by inorganic and organic methods. Quite simply, I start with a piece of copper pipe. The pipe has been oxidized, which creates a very crude diode, which basically creates a one-way current. Basically, the zero-point energy is also known as Johnson noise, diode, Casimir effect, quantum vacuum, etc., etc. Basically, I next put I use those hand towels. You know, the hand towels you find for wiping your hands, or you can use a piece of paper, but I find the hand towels, the more thicker the fiber, the more porous the fiber, the better. So what I do is I use the fiber paper saturated with these powders. I use galena powder, I use hematite powder, I use pyrite powder, peacock ore powder, and then I get rid of all the large chunks, because it's almost impossible to make a powder out of these guys, but the galena powder comes out really good. And basically, once the powders are applied, I put 2.5 turns of the fiber paper around the copper pipe. So it's 2.5 turns of the fiber paper is applied to the pipe, and then it is saturated with lysine. Now the lysine contains superconductive liquids, or superconductive plastics. Nowadays, if you look at your research, you'll find out that plastics are starting to become used for superconductors. Visine extra strength is the one I use. Sorry, not lysine, but it's called Visine, V-I-S-I-N-E. That's a mistake there. It's V-I-S-I-N-E. Visine liquid eye drops contains PEG 400. It also contains dextran, which are both superconductive liquids. And I basically saturate that towel with that, and it'll help crystallize and dry into the galena. Next, which is very important, a sodium silicate layer is applied, and it's allowed to dry. Once the sodium silicate is dried around here, then you can apply the paste. If you do it first, you put the paste on first without the sodium silicate, it will not stick. Basically, if you take a look here, this is solid. It's like a solid rubber gel, but it's solid. It's good because there's nothing that causes corrosion with magnesium ribbon, but we'll get to that later on. Anyway, next, we put together a paste consisting of 1 part potassium chloride, which is also known as Epsom salt, not Epsom salts, but salt substitute. And the potassium chloride I use has what's called lysine. And lysine is another, it blends very well with the sodium alligate, which we'll be putting in, I'll show you later on. But once again, that's potassium chloride. And we're using 1 part potassium chloride. The next part is 2 parts of sodium alginate. Now I have some sodium alginate right here. This is sodium alginate. And by the way, here's the potassium chloride, also known as salt substitute. And as you can take a really close look at that, you'll see that this one has lysine in there. I don't know if you guys can see that, but the lysine really seems to help boost the energy. Okay, 2 parts sodium alginate. We now have, next we have 1.5 parts of calcium chloride. This is calcium chloride right here. You guys can see that. Calcium chloride is a very powdery substance. It's like limestone, dolomite type texture. It does a really fine job of making it smooth and making it stick really well. It also increases the chloride ions, which boosts the Casimir effect. Okay, review 1.5 parts of calcium carbonate, that's done. Calcium chloride, I'm sorry, that's done. And then Once that's done, it's put into a little cup, and I add only 3 drops of Visine liquid eye drops are applied. No more than that. Only 3 drops. The 3 drops are applied, and then it's all mixed into a powder. And then next comes the distilled water. I only add drops of distilled water because once the stuff gets together, it gets cooking. You only need a little bit of water. Distilled water is added until the paste is formed. The paste is applied over the sodium silicate like this. This is the paste that's over the sodium silicate layer, as you can see. It's nice and hard. And then next, magnesium ribbon is applied in a coil type shape. So let me go ahead and see if I can get this around here with one hand. Alright. Quite simply, I'm pretty sure you guys get the idea. But this is applied in a coil basically all the way around right here. And then once it's done, there we go. It'll end up looking like these guys. It'll look like this. And I've wrapped duct tape around there to keep out the moisture because the moisture is a very big, it's not good for the magnesium and it basically corrodes the magnesium. So, then basically magnesium is put around there to keep out the moisture. The device is then shorted out 3 times, 15 minutes apart to build up and boost the voltage. And then basically you get this. That's pretty much it. I gotta go now. Time's running out on the video, so I wish you all a great week and continue.